Now let's talk of the space docking experiment which India did. I think it was fantastic, right? So let's see what happened and then go. This happened on end of last year.
1-0 plus 5 seconds. Lift off normal.
That's a marvelous liftoff of
PSLV
PSLV
tracking
C-60's Paddock's mission on the go.
plus 15
Sleek
seconds.
PSLV Corellon vehicle
Go to tracking.
saluted against the night sky, a beautiful sight to behold.
जी हाँ, अभी आपने देखा सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन PSLV C-60 रॉकेट का रात को रोशन करता हुआ PSLV C-60 अपने उद्देश्य कक्षा की ओर ट्रैकिंग सभी तंत्र सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए रेंज ऑपरेशन डायरेक्टर ने इसकी पुष्टि की है। प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य है। 1
What is this all about? This PSLV carried 2 more satellites, and these 2 satellites did docking. Okay, so we'll see the docking. This was completed, right? We all know. So this was the 2 satellites which docked. Okay. Okay, so they docked. So what's so special about it? Now, as per the original plan, they were to do this docking on 7th. And everyone in the world was watching about how will this docking experiment be successful or not. Why is docking important? Because it would have made India the 4th country which can do docking. Of course, we are now the 4th country which can do docking in space. Now, this is the precursor for a manned space mission. You don't have a space station up there, you need to have this capability to dock. Because the space station will be there, you can send astronauts up, they can go. If you do docking, through the docking thing, you can get in and do everything and come back. And man that. Docking is important for a mission to the moon. We've done the Vikram lander and we've done Chandrayaan 2 where it went and landed. But what if you want to get samples from the moon? You have to get that back and re-dock back with your systems. So space docking is important. Now, in the course of this experiment, on the first time there was some problem, they didn't dock. Second day, or 2 days later, on 9th, they tried it again. And this time, they initially, both these satellites were about a couple of kilometers apart. Then they were brought down to about 300 meters, then brought down to 3 meters. 3 meters. And some problem happened and they were taken apart. And 24 hours later, they overcame the problems, did all their check, and the docking took place. Very important. The fact that for good time, both these satellites, right, the tracker and the docker, the target and the docker, whatever they were called, both these satellites were just moving 3 meters apart from each other. Gives you co-orbital capability. What is co-orbital capability? It is the capability of putting your satellite next to some other satellite and continue it in its orbit together. How will that help you? So if there's an enemy satellite, you can knock it off. Or you can capture it. Or you can take its data. Alternately, this co-orbital capability gives you the capability of going and repairing or maintaining your satellite. People have not understood this, but this is a tremendous capability which we have shown to the world. A lot of people have not understood this. And you have to see it against, what all ISRO has been able to achieve. See, look at the milestones which, ISRO has been able to achieve. Chandrayaan 1, Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan. We were one of the few countries who have a Mars mission. Again, one of the four. Then you did Chandrayaan 2. Then you have Gaganyaan, which is a manned mission. Then we put a reusable launch vehicle. We have tried it out, and of course this SpaceX. Major milestones. Okay. Now you're going to be a space power, and I'll talk of space power when I talk of AI. Why? You need energy, and it is said that anyone who has a major space program is a future superpower. And only 4 countries, like I told you, have this capability. Of course, Europeans and Japanese are also there in some form. But their own individual, like we have our own individual space program, Russia, USA, China, and India. It is some capability. We need to be confident of what we are doing. And we need to understand that you have to do what you want for your system and not ape China. Okay. Now, talking of China, what has Chinese said? Again, I've taken it from Guancha, which is their vernacular Chinese media, and what they have said. Okay. That's important. What they have said. Let me see. Let me show you that better. Okay. What their headline? Historical movement. India become the 4th country to achieve space docking after China, USA, and Russia. Look, this is your adversary talking. And he's gone to describe what all. But the interesting thing came when I read the comments. And these comments, I've just, they were all in Chinese. I've just transcribed them into English. And I've just reproduced them. I'll read it out. You'll get the drift of what they're talking. First of all, the progress of the third brother, so we are the third brother, okay, is generally exaggerated as per them, okay, or even seriously exaggerated. Like we feel they exaggerate everything. Now they also feel the same thing. But the progress itself exists and should not be taken lightly. Understood? He says, "Bhai, ye to hua hai. How can you take it lightly?" And then he says, another guy says, although my heart is sore, I still have to admit their great victory. Acknowledgement from your enemy is very important. He says, what is important that the two guys means the 2 satellites, are only about 250 kilograms for docking. China, US, and Russia are all big guys weighing several tons. Big guys means their space capsules have been weighing up to tons. The bigger the better the target, the easier it seems. I mean, this is their perception. Ho, ho, ho. If India wants to take the lead, it will lead China, US, and Russia. He says India is now capable of taking the lead. That's their worry. Anyway, the miniaturization of atomic bombs is advanced. Obediently, it was a solve. So, I'll show you the next one and then I'll explain to you. What I say is another guy. This kind of small quantity docking and the docking of the space station are basically 2 different things. Not to mention the autonomous docking in the lunar orbit. It's all done autonomously. And it still flew in orbit for more than half a month because it's now 17 days. 31st December it was launched. In fact, it's 19 days. And the docking failed 4 or 5 times before succeeding. This is their analysis. Technically speaking, the docking of small quality is more difficult. Okay. This is just about 200 kg each. He says this is more difficult. It is miniaturization, robotics, autonomous docking. China's space station weighs 8 tons. with large mass and large inertia, while India's small satellite is only 220 kg, with a little external force and great disturbance. So you see the impact of what SpaceX has done. We keep talking nonsense. I'm sure some of our thinkers or people will say, oh, you should copy China. You don't have to copy China. That's what I keep telling everyone. Okay. And look at this comment. I'll read it out. Or rather, I'll make it full so that you people also can read it along with what I've said. India must always be contained and should not be careless. The reason why India vigorously develops aerospace technology is that it wants to exchange aerospace technology for military technology from the West. So you have this technology, you can trade. Once India's military rises, it will invade the Himalayas, China's territory. They feel Himalayas is China's territory because this is the source of China-India river. Whoever controls the water source can strangle the other's dead hole. It's a must-win place for China and India. Now, China's control is friendly to India. But once India controls and cuts off China's water source, China will face a huge crisis. Treating each other with benevolence and righteousness does not mean that the other party also understands what benevolence, justice, courtesy, wisdom, and trust are. Maybe our benevolence is just a manifestation of cowardice in the eyes of the other party. In 1962, we retreated 20 kilometers of troops. India is not continuing to encroach on our territory. Don't have the fancy of vegetarianizing about jackals, tigers, and leopards. In order to avoid the consequences, we must establish the containment of India as a long-term, unswerving national policy. Thank you. So this fellow has conveyed many things to many people. He's conveyed internally that India cannot be trusted and that we need to contain India. Okay. He's also conveyed to whoever, mostly to the internal people, that China is benevolent and India is not. And in China withdrew 20 kilometers in 62 on its own. But don't expect India to do anything. When India becomes a military power, which it will in due course of time, based on this trade of technology, it will invade Himalayas. He's also said we control their water, so today they are behaving. Once they control their own water, and if we retake Tibet, that's what he's talking of. Himalayas is Tibet. We retake Himalayas and Tibet, and we control their water, they're going to have problem. Conveyed a lot in this comment, and all this comments comes from SpaceX. Okay, so you have to understand what SpaceX has done, space docking experiment, right? And then this also comes that we launched 3 ships, a submarine included. So this is also covered. Same time, same day. Now all this has an effect. Don't think China is not worried about us. It's terribly worried about us. And I'll discuss what they've started doing because they've gone back now from the LAC. It's not as if they're not going to come back, but they'll come back differently. And they've started it. I'll talk of it later. I call it the strategy of indirect approach, and I'll discuss it in detail. So, what we've done over the past 20 days, we put the 2 satellites in orbit. PSLV very successfully launched. Tried docking, didn't happen. Retried, didn't happen. Third time lucky, everything happened. Co-orbital launch, everything. Miniature launch. We've been able to miniaturize and robotize. Autonomous. China has taken note. Time we realize our own strength.